Ah, ça fait sont intéressants.
Oui, oui. Alors l'occasion de cette exposition, c'est qu'aujourd'hui c'est la journée internationale de lutte contre les violences faites aux femmes. Et c'est dans ce cadre-là qu'on voulait participer à l'œuvre de l'artiste mexicaine Elina Chauvet, qui symbolise l'absence de toutes les femmes décédées suite à des féminicides un peu partout dans le monde. Aujourd'hui à Bruxelles, il y a aussi Saint-Gilles qui fait la même action.
So I'm gonna start off with what you'll generally find if you just search engine the red shoes and conspiracies and whatnot. You will probably 80-90% start with what Macaulay Culkin has allegedly said, because the articles have been since withdrawn. I'll show you that. I'll show you what was allegedly said, and I'll leave it down to you good guys to formulate what your opinion is on this. But to start off with, before I get to Macaulay, we all know that the Hollywood do things like spirit cooking, so the symbolism of them eating human flesh and going down that road is out there. It's, you know, these are what's classed as a fact. You've all seen the celebrities doing it. You've seen them coming out saying that the human flesh is great. You saw them emphasizing on the colour red in all of this. You have Pizzagate, which people will believe, people won't believe. It, you know, it's down to your perspective on these matters. You've got adrenochrome, which I've done a video on a long time ago. If you want to check that out, I'll show you where it is on screen. So let's get on to with what you will find when you research this from the beginning. So you'll like I said, mainly see Macaulay Culkin talking. You'll see people doing videos on TikTok and different things like that, different platforms talking about this. So I've just found the articles and I found where what is allegedly been said, and I'm going to read that out just to show you what you're going to find when you start looking into this topic and the symbolism of it. So he allegedly said, I have to say this because I can't prove none of it, and it's since then been taken down, so we have to say that. So Hollywood executives are bloodthirsty Satanists who ritually abuse children in the industry, according to Macaulay Culkin, who claims he only got out alive because he was a smart, suspicious kid and he got too famous to be killed like some of the other kids. You learn very early to recognise which of them want to abuse you and which of them have even darker tastes. Macaulay Culkin said, explaining that the worst of them were shoes made out of skin of children they have ritually murdered. Speaking on radio in Paris, France, Culkin said, have you seen leather products made from human skin? It has a very unusual, distinctive look. I learned at a very young age to identify it. He then goes on to say, Hollywood is controlled by satanic paedophiles, according to Macaulay Culkin, who opened up in a radio interview describing how one Hollywood executive tried to get him hooked on crack at the age of 11. And he boasted that his tailor-made leather shoes were made from the skin of dead child star Heather O'Rourke. The explosive claims made by Culkin were reported by French media, including Les Echos, a newspaper. However, all reports were quickly deleted within an hour of appearing online. Also, and that was what I just emphasised, Macaulay Culkin claims Hollywood studio executives rape and murder child stars and use their skin to make boots, belts and wallets they use as skin trophies. Now, you can see the symbolism all around the world. You know, that you can see and say is what is classed as a fact. You got that Marina Abramovich showing you, like you see on the screen, showing you about these skin boots. You know, why show you this if not to show you the symbolism? She always loves to wear red. And she comes out with things like this, as you can see on screen, and it's just crazy. And as you know, I don't like to do this stuff, these type of videos, but you know, it just came to me in the week that I had to do something like this every now and again, just to show you what is out there. And this is one of the theories of what the red shoes symbolize. So I cannot make a video on the red shoes and not leave out what some of people in social media are saying. It wouldn't be right. So guys, as I was just showing that bit on Macaulay Culkin, I came across this. Now, it was well weird. I want to be upfront. Is it a sign of mind control, or is it him trying to get this agenda out there so everyone research it? It's really weird. So it's from a website called Bunny Ears, and as you know, Bunny Ears is one of the signs that you've been under mind control. It's generally referred to for the ladies, for the Playboy bunny ears. So that got me attention straight away. But it is a website that supposedly he is running, and as you can see, after quietly coming into existence early this year, the Los Angeles-based organisation is excited to officially announce its first two ventures: Bunny Ears, the comedy podcast hosted by Culkin and Matt Cohen, and Bunny Ears, the satirical celebrity lifestyle website. Now, this is what this article is placed on the website, and I was tired of the pop-ups flashing, so I basically copied and pasted some of the headlines out of it, and I'll read through it on screen so you can just see what I'm going at. It's well weird, and there's a few things that pop into my mind when I'm reading it. So here goes. He dominated children's cinema. He dominated the celebrity lifestyle guru space. Now, Macaulay Culkin is using his clout to command you to eat this old shoe. Macaulay Culkin understands the power he wields as a media darling and cultural influencer. He is now testing the outer limits of his power by issuing a direct command to his fans and followers. Eat this shoe. Seriously, eat it. So he's asking you to eat a shoe. Now, is this in reference to this article, or is it just one of those what they call satirical? It's well weird. So carry on reading it now, and you'll still get the feel of what I'm trying to get at. What Macaulay Culkin deems delicious, you must consume. You're just going to have to take his word for it when he says this old musty shoe he found in a closet that he's not even sure who it belongs to is delicious. If you are a true fan of Macaulay Culkin, this will not be a difficult decision. Macaulay Culkin is telling you to eat it should be all you need to know before you take a huge honking bite out of this size 11. So, of all bloody sizes, it's an 11. Before you take your first bite of the shoe, you're going to have to take pictures of the shoe from every conceivable angle to thoroughly make a fool of yourself in front of everyone around you, but especially for Macaulay Culkin's delight. Angle your phone to get that nice top-down cinema angle Instagrammers love as you engage in this delightful tragedy for Mac's amusement. Then, with no dashi broth, chikumkuru or truffle oli or olai, chomp into the old leather shoe, heel, toe, sole. Whatever you prefer to take your first bite is of no concern to Macaulay Culkin. This is the only say that you have in the matter. Do not squander it, choose wisely. It tastes like nostalgia. Feels. As you eat this shoe, Macaulay Culkin would like you to think about Macaulay Culkin. What are the ways in which you honour and praise Macaulay Culkin? Have you praised Macaulay Culkin enough in this calendar year? Are there other shoes Macaulay Culkin would like you to eat? Maybe an old Converse, high top, or a pair of Toms. Macaulay Culkin will appreciate your efforts to appease him, but he cautions against getting ahead of his commands. He would want you to unnecessarily eat a pair of expensive co-hand dress shoes when his commands have grown loftier in their aspirations. You'd be struck there looking like a fool with an insole dangling from your lips, thinking you're ahead of the curve when Macaulay Culkin is now all about commanding his followers to overrun a government building as step one in the larger plan to form an independent city-state with the United States. Think of the Vatican, but with bouncy castles. Macaulay Culkin wants you to see the entire shoot eaten from beginning to end. You can document the meal on social media platform of your choice or on a stream. Just be sure to tag it with command by the Culk. When you've done slipping down the final lengths of the shoelace, don't forget to tell Macaulay Culkin that you've loved eating that old shoe. Anything else, offer anything less than effusive praise for the dinner recommendation, and you might become the next thing Macaulay Culkin tells people to eat. Like, wow, it's so weird. Now, is this getting at this agenda that I'm talking about? Or is it a sign of mind control? Or, coincidentally, is it just satire? I mean, I also found an image of him trying to kick a paparazzi, and you can see it on screen. Tell me, do you believe in coincidences? What colour is the shoe? Oh yes, a red one. So I'm just feeling like, wow, this is well weird. I bet you guys are thinking the same. You know, is it that initiation stuff where they have to humiliate themselves? Is it trying to get people to do that? It's just well weird. And I leave it up to you good guys to formulate what you think on what I've just showed you. So as you know, symbolism is interpretive in its nature. There's not one correct interpretation. It's how we see it. That's why you get so many interpretations, so many theories on a shape or a symbol, anything. So just bear that in mind. So with that in mind, guys, and what I've talked about so far about the Red Shoe Club being a group of elitist people who kidnap, traffic, rape, kill, and sometimes eat young children. And as you know, they talk about how they use the skin to make human leather. So bear that in mind when I'm trying to interpret this as the red carpet where all the elites walk down. Is the red carpet symbolising blood? And there's something that has always got me when I'm flicking through these channels or seeing these articles on the news about these Oscars or any of these meetups that they have, and they ask this question: are they talking about designers, or are they talking about the people that's been used in these shoes, etc., etc.? And you'll see what I mean by the point now. This is the question that they always get asked.
Before I let you go, who are you wearing this evening?
Vivian Westwood.
Who are you wearing?
Tom Ford.
There you go.
Who are you wearing tonight?
Who am I wearing? Yes, Givenchy.
Who are you wearing this evening? Show us your outfit here.
I'm wearing a she.
Who are you wearing tonight?
I'm wearing a tuxedo.
So you got to ask, the saying, who are you wearing this evening? Is it referring harmlessly to the designer? Or is there a darker, secret interpretation of that? Who are you wearing in regard to your shoes, your clothing, etc.? I don't know. Sometimes it's too dark to think about these things, but I had to throw that in there with this video because it was in the back of my mind. And to carry this on, as you can see on the screen, you have John and Tony Podesta. I don't even have to go there, do I? A lot of people know about this. Anyway, you can see from the image on the right, he likes to wear red shoes. And again, when you're looking at this topic that I've just started talking about, this image on the right will pop up. It's probably one of the images that is used in refer to this Red Shoe Club. Now, guys, you know I research the god of this realm a lot, and a specific number. So bear that in mind. I'm just going to read from a website now. I'll show you on screen and you'll see it. So, Democratic power broker Tony Podesta was scheduled to celebrate his 65th birthday. Yes, another 11. In style with a red shoe, fete, or fete, however you pronounce that, at the National Museum of Women in the Arts on Friday night. Riffing off Podesta's penchant for wearing red loafers, the party invite billed the event as a red shoe affair, Guests were encouraged to glamour up and join us to celebrate this red shoe, and he said it's optional. He said, I had nothing to do with it. Podesta said of planning the event. I was informed I was to be there. Podesta said the idea was spawned by his home wife and office wife, Heather Podesta, and Podesta Group CEO, Kimberly Fritz. While the event was expected to draw several prominent K Streeters with the last House votes Friday morning, Podesta said he wasn't expecting a large contingency of lawmakers to attend. The event was planned to comply with House and Senate ethic rules according to the invite. Now here's a bit that doesn't sound right to me. In lieu of gifts, guests were encouraged to bring new or gently used shoes for a donation to Souls for Souls, a charity that provides shoes to adults and children in need. Again, the pendant to these children in need and souls, it just feels creepy to me. So this famous photo was his 65th birthday, which is an 11, a doorway, a gateway, and is a number they love to use to push anything. It's opening the door, a ritual event. So now it's my turn to look into it to see what I find. But first I want to start with the colour red. Is there any symbolic nature to the red and things like that? You know what I do. So let's start with what is it about the colour red that they choose, and why did they choose it? The colour red represents life, fertility in European and some Asian traditions, but it also has associations with danger, war, death. Red is also the colour of extremes of humanity, strong emotions, magic, that caught my attention, and religious experiences. Also, as I was saying, red is also associated with the concept of passion and erotic desire, as well as obsessive urges, spiritual exaltation and suffering. So bear that in mind. I wonder, because of that erotic nature, it got tied to the colour of red light districts, scarlet women, and even the devil is associated with red. Obviously it's got an ambivalence between love and war, but I keep coming back to that magic, and I think I found the reason for that, and I'll show that you later on. Obviously nobility use it. It's the colour of vulgarity, and as you know, the Catholic Church, the highest ranking people in the church wear red vestments. It's mad when you start to think about the colour like that. It's said that red is the archetypal colour, the first colour humans mastered, fabricated, reproduced, and broke down into different shades. So is there something to that? Is that why it's associated with Christ and the blood of Christ? You know, when you start looking at different traditions and what it means to them, the colour red, it's really symbolic. So is that why, together with the magic and its lust and the erotic nature of it, it was the colour chosen to be the shoes, and obviously symbolic nature of our blood? So now you can tie that like stuff about red, because there's loads on it, and I didn't want to do an hours and hours just talking about the colour red. So you then tie that into the shoe and red shoes. And they say the shoes' origins go back to Byzantine days, when they were donned by the kings as a symbol of bloody martyrdom. The successors, the Roman emperors, stuck with it, and in fact became a standard high fashion accessory for the aristocrats. If your shoes were red, you were a somebody. So that's pretty crazy, isn't it? And that's just quickly on, why they were red in ancient times. You were a somebody if you had red shoes. Take that a step further, and if they're doing anything dark, using the magic, remember it's all got to do with magic. So I might just look at quickly anything on feet itself. So it got me thinking, when we wear shoes, we leave our imprint inside, and obviously that imprint is our soul. And obviously there is an arch, the power of the arch, power of the soul. It's crazy, isn't it? So when you combine in those two, the colour and then the symbolic nature of a shoe, and the shoe retains the imprint of the wearer's foot. And how many things we saw in history and myth and folklore around slippers and, you know, shoes. It's mad when you really, it's like the bed video, you just don't think about it. Now you're looking at the shoe, the imprint of the sole that's left, and a symbolic nature of red being power, and that's why they and you know, control over you. And that's why the Elites started to wear red shoes at the beginning, and obviously the power of blood, also blood magic. Is that anything to do with it? Yeah, it's mad. Right, guys, I had a think on a few things, and I thought, you know what, I have to put this in because, as I've mentioned in the video so far about the colour red and what its meaning is, there is a dark fairy tale, and it's by Hans Christian Andersen. And I'm just going to read a summary, and there's a few different versions of it, but this is basically the gist of it, one of them anyway. So you remember the plot basically goes like this: orphan child adopted by a rich old lady covets these sinful red shoes, tricks her guardian into basically having them made for her by the shoemaker. The child finally breaks the prohibition on wearing them to church, and on speaking with a strange soldier who admires the shoes, some say it's a devil in disguise, some just say angel, the shoes come to life and dance her away until she begs an executioner to free her basically from by cutting her feet off and making like wooden stumped shoes, legs, things, whatever you want to call it. And basically the shoes, complete with the feet, still carry on dancing away. Earlier versions have the girl dancing herself to a skeleton. Some say she just dances to her death, and it strangely reminds me of St. Vitus's dance or the Dancing Plague. Very, very, very similar, but this is emphasising on the red shoes and how they're sinful. Obviously, there is a version that Kate Bush sang also, so I just want to, you know what, I had to put that in just to give you a flavour on what's happening about these red shoes. So you can see Snow White on the screen. Well, the evil queen, the stepmother, is Snow White. And you're wondering why I'm talking about this, because I'm seeing other layers in folklore, because obviously Brothers Grimm, and obviously you had Hans Christian Andersen. And as you know, basically the evil queen tries to kill Snow White 3 times in total. She first uses a constricting corset, then a poisoned comb, and finally a poisoned apple. But why I'm mentioning it is because an alteration to the movie, actually from Brothers Grimm, obviously they don't put this bit in the movie. She gets invited, the evil queen gets invited to Snow White's wedding. And as punishment for trying to kill her 3 times, they force the evil queen to wear red hot, straight out of the smith's oven, shoes to dance in till she dies. And I thought that was intriguing. Obviously, yes, it's red hot because the iron's red, but the symbolism of it, she was dancing in red shoes. And I just thought, you know, it's too much coincidence. Obviously, you had Hans Christian Andersen. I think he based it a little bit on this because it was later, but it's still again showing you the power, the magic of this red shoe. And on a separate note, remember Cinderella, her evil sister, according to the old fairy tales, she actually cut bits of her heel off and toes and covered the slipper in blood to fit into the slipper. So again, turning the slipper red. I thought that was just ironic and wow, because they're all talking about blood and red and these shoes and these slippers. So I just thought, you know what, I had to share that with you guys. Some of you might have been screaming, "Where's Wizard of Oz? The ruby slippers." That's coming, guys. I wouldn't do you dirty like that, would I? And there's something on that, and a few things that I've mentioned already to remember. One, I just forgot about how Snow White was tried to kill her 3 times. So remember the 3 for later on, and also the bit at the beginning I told you to remember. So it's crazy. So in this section, I just wanted to briefly, because I wanted, instead of going in depth in all these things and putting loads in, I just want to give a flavour of why the red shoe and then feet in general are important, hence why the red shoes. And this taking me back about how Moses, God basically said to him, take off your sandals. You can't talk to me until you take off your shoes. And when we think about life, how we live our life and the path we take in our life could be seen in the symbolism of the feet. Where you walk, leaves an impression on people's lives. So feet has a lot of symbology with it. And just looking when God told him to take off your sandals. The bottom of the human foot, technically the plantar, corresponds to the palm of the hand, like palm reading maybe. Early 14th century, from Old French sole, from Vulgar Latin sola, from Latin solere, sandal, bottom of the shoe, a flattish, bottom of a shoe, a flat fish, from solum, bottom, ground, foundation, lowest point of a thing, hence sole of the foot. I mean, people talk about, what is that term technically now when they talk about grounding? That's it, grounding. And I've just done different things over the years saying, could it be positive and a negative? Because obviously the link to evil and the devil living in the soil. And I talked about the devil's traps, things like this in regard to ley lines, because it means lie lines. So I just thought, hey, if God told him to take off his shoes before he could talk to me, sandals in soul, to expose the soul, like I was saying before, the essence, if these red shoes are made of skin and different things, contains power, contains energy, and the symbolism of this. You also have in different cultures, feet are symbolized even higher. Feet hold a powerful symbolism with Hindu culture. You take off your shoes when you enter a temple. When sitting, you never point your feet towards people, especially seniors, and you never spread your feet before an altar or towards fellow worshippers. We can say the feet of people are considered low. In fact, one of the greatest insults you can make is to throw shoes at someone. And yet the feet of God and seniors are special. God's feet and even a guru's feet are often called lotus feet. And in some temples, even a small set of shoes belonging to the deity is touched to the head of worshippers. We even drink the feet bathing water of God as a prasada and sprinkle the bathing water of a guru's feet on our heads. The basis for feet symbolism goes back to the Vedic conception of the universe as the body of God. Just like a body has high and low parts, so the universe has high and low, pure and impure places. Up is high, down is low, feet touch the ground, which is low, and so when you enter a temple, you leave your low part at the door. We take off our impure part, our feet, symbolizing by leaving our shoes at the door as we enter sacred space. You might say we leave our materialistic side at the door when we enter spiritual space. So you can see ups and downs for this in regard to the symbolism with these red shoes, power, and also impure. It is the, like I was saying before, red, love and anger. It's the dualistic nature of that colour and also the shoes. You just saw like things that making you think, oh wow. So feet symbolism goes back to the Vedic conception of the universe as being the body of God. So if you're doing red shoes, making you, I'm more powerful because I'm symbolizing God. It's crazy when we just look at things completely different. I've said it many times in this video so far. I've started one way to make the video and I'm ending it in another way, and I just wanted to include a couple of spiritual things on feet just to show the significance of the foot and the soul that goes in a shoe and leaves an imprint in your and my lives, our lives. Crazy. Now it's my turn to come up with a weird, wacky, way out there theory on the symbolism and what the red shoes mean. And this is just my opinion. Right, so I look at things a little bit differently to a lot of people. We all see our different patterns. Now, I've talked about red and its association with magic, so I had that in mind. So when I started looking into the red shoe and seeing also the connection with the Pope, and so I thought, I'll delve a little bit deeply into this, to do with the Pope a little bit. And it threw up something like, when it's like, really, like, so that is my inspiration, me just being me. So the purple footwear has a special designation to, Christianity. Anyway, the Romans gave the name for these shoes mules, M-U-L-E-S. And basically, the Romans gave the name mules to a light pair of shoes coloured with a red dye derived from the mullet, the mule. And the mullet is the red mullet. Obviously, there's a few different variants of these, but on a whole, the name of these purple shoes comes from, the red mullet fish, an ocean-dwelling fish. So it doesn't matter what you want to go into. They're made from children's skin, they're made just from silk. The symbology and the origins of it are from a red mullet. And they actually went in a little bit more depth and talked about how it was coloured with a red dye from the fish. So that's how it got its name, mules. So they used dye from the fish, basically, to create the colour for the Pope's feet. So that was the red mullet. And you can see just a little red mullet fish on there. So when I started delving a little bit more into it, and again, remember, red is magic. And then we're talking about fish. I came across this. And it started to make more sense. Now, Hecate. Well, there's a few different ways that you want to spell it. She has colours associated with her: red, coincidence, black and white. Now, she's also the goddess of magic. She's a goddess of a lot of things. The threshold, she's tied to Janos. That is why I know a tiny little bit about her. And she is well known for her sacrifices were dogs, black dogs. But if you delve into it a little bit more, you start to see a weird connection happening. And I've just put a few headlines from the web so you can see on screen. The goddess Hecate and the god Poseidon. As part of the association domain of the sea, fish are sacred to both Hecate and Poseidon. Red mullet is actually a common offering to Hecate. Say what? Yes. Hecate, next one. The fish that was most commonly banned was the red mullet trigel, which fits neatly into the pattern. Basically, at Athens, there was a statue of Hecate and this fish was placed there regular basis. Last one, the red mullet, the beauties of the sea, and the one, and it goes into a lot of things. So the little headline underneath, still the condemned man's love of red mullet was widely felt, although the Greeks revered them as sacred to Hecate. And obviously so were the Romans. So, you're talking about the shoes dyed from a red mullet. The red mullet is associated with Hecate. She is also magic and associated to that colour, and thresholds, and a lot of other things that we may get into just after this. So, that is a picture that you're seeing on screen of Hecate. Coincidentally, it's in the Vatican. But, now here's another intriguing thing. Hecate has 3 heads. Above it, though, one can see a smaller red mullet. The Greek name for the fish was trigel, or trigel, which Athenaeus surmised might derive from the fact that the red mullet was said to spawn 3 times a year. So, the fish that was sacred to the goddess of magic spawns life 3 times a year just the same as her heads. But they'll have you believe that is just a coincidence. So as before, I was going into a little bit of the fairy tales on red shoes and red slippers, and I said, I know guys, you'd be wondering why I didn't put Wizard of Oz in that. Well, here I'm putting it in now because I found something weird. Again, some will say it's a stretch. To me, it's just how I see things, so I had to put it together. So you can see, obviously, the association now with red and a carte and magic, obviously, and crossroads and the yellow brick road and boundaries. Well, as you know, a carte was associated with borders, city walls, doorways, crossroads, and by extension with realms outside or beyond the world of the living. So different realms, also the underworld. She appears to have been particularly associated with being between, and hence is frequent characterized as a liminal goddess. So when we're talking about a story of a young girl being transported magically to another realm, and she has the magical ruby slippers, which was changed from silver, I believe they were originally going to be silver, but because they were going to Technicolor, that was the excuse. So they changed it to red. So remember, how does Dorothy get home? She had to get the slippers, she had to click the heels 3 times. That 3 again. Just like the spawning fish, the mullet. And a carte has 3 heads, so they had to sell the magic spell 3 times. There's no place like home. And in gematria, no place like home adds to 9. 1, 3, 1, 4 adds to 9. Now, that is 999. And I'm always told this world is reversed, or other dimensions is reverse. Evil reverses it. So 999 becomes 666, because obviously Dorothy had to say it 3 times. So it's 3 9s or 3 6s. How crazy is that? Now, yes, I will say, yes, some could say that's a stretch, but it's a weird connection that seems to fit, and I've found it. How crazy is that? That just blew my mind, that bit. Then you're thinking, that blew my mind. Well, who is Dorothy's constant companion but Toto? And Toto is a small black terrier with bright shining eyes and inquisitive personality. Despite his diminutive size, he bravely faces the various dangers he and Dorothy encounter in Oz. So, what's that got again, and what animal is associated with her? Oh yes, black dogs. Dogs specifically signify protection, loyalty, and acting on intuition. Although black dogs are seen as sacred and a way of connecting with the underworld, they were also used as sacrifices at the crossroads for Hecate. So, even more connections with Hecate and the Wizard of Oz, the black dog. Again, what can you say? Mind blown.
Yeah, they call me the black sheep. You know they call me the black sheep.
Hello and welcome to the Black Sheep Researcher. Thank you guys for joining me today. I know it's not a nice topic that we're researching, so we'll get into that. But like always, I want to first thank you everyone for the love, the support, the comments, the sharing of the channel, recommending the channel when you're about on your travels. It really means a lot. And anyone who has bought me a bar, which is Buy Me a Coffee, the QR code is there, or the link is in the description. Truly appreciate it, guys. It just keeps me and the channel going. It really does. So thank you for everyone who's done that, and it really means a lot. So, you know, big hugs. So to the topic, the video. I normally stay away from this type of content because I feel it has too much dark presence. It's like when I made the video on adrenochrome. When you start looking into this type of topic, especially if you have children, doesn't sit right, and you don't want these type of thoughts, these negative thoughts, dark thoughts, when you're researching, looking into the content, seeing the images, seeing what has been said in your head. You don't. And it's a hard balance, because you don't want to just stick your head in the sand, the proverbial sand, and ignore it. You still have to look into it. But I believe the way I've done it and do things is not like the doom and gloom stuff of whatever people say. People were expecting, seeing the headline, to just get, oh, it's about the children's human skin and all. It's not. That's not what I'm about. And when I look at topics, I don't want to take what is accepted. And this is just another example of me sticking to my guns, researching a topic and finding something, an alternative explanation. Doesn't mean it's fact, but we'll get into that. Just, something different, and what I'm known for. So hopefully, guys, you enjoyed it, and it's give you something to think about, more food for thought. So what we'll start off with is how I did the video. I basically showed you what, if you're looking into the Red Shoe Club and different things, what are the first type of things that's going to come across you on your journey. And one of them is that the sick individuals in pedo-wood, Hollywood, all the celebrities are basically killing, raping and all that type of malarkey, which I don't want to think about, because being in that presence leaves an imprint on you, and that's why I try and stay away from this stuff. But you have to, like I said, when you got kids, even if you've not got kids, you want to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves. So this is just bringing this to people's attention, because when they look into it, they'll find something I've not found, or something totally different. And that's why I promote on this channel, to look at things for yourself with your eyes, and see what everyone else has missed or not talking about more. So yes, these individuals could be doing that, because we know how deep and how evil people are. And we have seen people sent to prison, etc., for these type of crimes. We saw celebrities talking about how human flesh is divine. We saw people satirically making programs for mainstream TV saying it's lab-grown human meat. I'm seeing people's reactions. They want to get a reaction. They want to try and make it so normalized that you don't raise an eyebrow. And us as a collective have to show people, yes, you might not believe that you're doing this, but we know they're doing evil things to children and people. Don't forget, there's people too, the grown-ups, and you have a lot of people going missing, and this could be an explanation for it. So when you're looking into this, you come across people making TikTok videos and other social media videos on YouTube talking about this, talking about how Macaulay Culkin has said this and said that. Now, we have to say allegedly, because I can't prove it. I only have other people who have made videos and the deleted comments. So, in this society, we have to go allegedly. So, allegedly, that's what was said. And you saw the comments that were retracted, talking about wearing children's shoes. Now, we saw things throughout history of blood libels, drawing blood from children. You saw cannibalism. We saw all of it. So there is a possibility this is happening. Can I say for 100% no? Can I discredit it 100% no? So it just has to be talked about as another reason why they're doing it. And when they are wearing the red shoes out and about, they are basically showing the symbolic nature of, yes, we are wearing these skin shoes. And when you start thinking of stuff when they're on the red carpet, the river of blood, the altar, and they get asked the question, who are you wearing today? Now, when you look at it like that, you go, damn, that's dark. And it could well be saying who you're wearing in regard to the designers and who made the outfits. But the dark side, also in you, when you're researching these things, have to think, are they saying who are you wearing and seeing the wry smile? I don't know. Again, I will leave all these things to you. So when Macaulay's saying this, and he would have been put in a position of being traumatized, growing up from being a child star. We know all these bad things have happened to him because it's happened to other child stars, like for instance who work for, you know, the famous platform Disney and different things. We know about mind control in regard to the sex side of it, also in regard to Playboy and different things like that. And we know this happens, so you can't discount it. So we all see these child stars, prodigies, being under control, and then we see them having a lapse, a breakdown of the control, where they have a moment of craziness, which is the brain trying to rewire back before they get reprogrammed. And you have him saying, this happens. Can I dispute it? No. Can I prove it? No, none of us can. You can just say what you found when you've been researching it, but you can't say this is 100% happening. But we know all this evil is happening out. And when I'm doing this content and I'm seeing this, I'm thinking, I don't want to just be talking about this. Is there anything else that I can look at and find and see if there's an alternative, which, yes, could be dark, but doesn't regard to children? So that is why I persisted. But you also have him saying that and creating a podcast and a platform called Bunny Ears, where he's then asking you to eat a shoe. Now, is that in regard to it be symbolize a cannibal eating the shoe? Is that talking about his experience about the red shoes being children's skin? Or is that him crying for help, having a moment of clarity, trying to expose what is out there without directly exposing it? Or is that just another ritual of, where they get them to basically embarrass themselves, and they want everyone else around the world to film themselves embarrass themselves eating a shoe? And if you've watched my channel, if you're new, welcome, hopefully you stay. If you are returning and old ones, much love and thanks for having me back. You will know I look into a topic and number 11 because it represents a lot of things, but it represents a doorway, a gateway, a portal, a crossroads, a threshold. It represents all that. So then when he's using, there's any size number of shoe out there, and he says, oh, well, for example, eat this size 11 boot. That starts to ring alarm bells for me. And it felt uneasy about doing this and asking people around the world to film themselves eating a shoe. And like everything, it's like a glass half full. Some will think, yes, he is helping society. Some say he's under mind control. So I have to say both sides because I don't know what I like. It just doesn't sit right. The little spidey sense is going off. But I'm not a channel that slate this, slate that, and slate that. It's just not me. So if that's the type of stuff that you like and you knew, you won't get on here. I don't like slating even evil on this channel. So that to me did alarm bells. So, but I had to show it. I had to show that in connection with who are you wearing today, and we know the evil that happens on in that society, the L-ites or L-shites as I call them. You then using the red shoe as a campaign for domestic abuse against ladies. Now, something I believe strongly in because family members have been abused like that throughout their lives. Like my mum was one of them. And it saddens me and it makes me angry. I will stand up for anyone who is getting bullied. and you will see a force that you cannot reckon on with me. My body will put on the line. I've always have, and I will, in regard to bullies. Will not accept it, not stand for it. It's a form of weakness that you are going out there bullying someone who has no power. And this is why I'm doing this type of video, because there's people out there and things happening in this world that sometimes we just have to stick our head up and say that's not right. We see content creators that have a well-checkered past, and we're all entitled to a second try, a second, everyone is deserve a second chance. But some things you can't forgive. That's just me personally. So this is why I do what I do. Well, one of the reasons. So get on with this. Looking into that Red Shoe campaign then for abuse of ladies, which again is something that people have to stand up for. Also abuse to men. But when we look into these type of things in our collective, our community, we know sometimes they use this how people don't think. For instance, how many things have you saw that, I give money to charity and the human traffickers, so these type of things happen. So this artist started a Red Shoe campaign in 2009. That number, the gateway, the threshold, and also it was to show the support for people who, again, now if that's 100% genuine, people do deserve support and exposure. But we do know, like everything, it has a flip side. And this is what the things that we see when we are researching it. The funny thing is that the artist's name, first name, basically etymology means bright or torch. Now, if you remember, what does Hecate carry? Amongst many things, a torch. And it also means bright, like light bearer. So you have things like that just raise your little grey cells and go, things don't seem right here, and people will go on to abuse it. And that's crazy, that. So you can just see the things that we have to think about when we're doing videos like this. And then the connection with the Hecate straight away in regard to the name and torch. Are these things a stretch? Some people will say that because they don't see what we see. So they're entitled to, it's a stretch, because they don't see the links. They'll have a link and I'll go, that's a stretch, because we don't experience it. We don't see those connections in the chain. So these things have to make you go, So we have Macaulay Culkin on that, which you're like, spidey senses are going off that there's something well dodgy here. But these things happen. So I'm carrying on and I'm looking into the things, and I noticed the Pope wears them, royalty have wear them, the elites wear them. Now, are they a part of a secret club that we're talking about, doing this to children and basically homeless and different things, because that's where a lot of people are going missing? You can say with a high regard, yes, unfortunately. But for me, it's like, could there be another reason? And that's when I started looking into the etymologies and looking at the words and where it came from. So the Pope talked about his red slippers getting made, and in ancient times they were called mules, like a drug mule. And that got me thinking, mule or mules. And it was basically from the red, what was it called now? The red mullet fish. And there's different types of the red mullet fish, but in general, it was made from the dye from that fish. Like dye, like they've died, they've sacrificed themselves. But the dye from the colour pigment also to create the red slippers. And then when I'm sat looking into ancient use of a red mullet, it came up with Hecate's name. When you look into Hecate, you find out she is in the museum in the Vatican, and then she's connected to Janos. Some people will say she's the Greek version, and the Roman version she's Artemis and different things, but people also attest her to Diana, And Diana is obviously attached to Janos, but also Hecate is, because they're all liminal gods, god and goddesses. In regard to the threshold, the door, the threshold is a part of the door. Other gods tied to Janos are Juno, you have Cardia, you have, so you can just see there is a lot of these connections out there. So then when you bring in that Hecate link, you're like, damn, I can start seeing a pattern that I am able to follow and see. That is crazy, because you then start looking at ancient folklore and nursery rhymes talking about red slippers, red shoes, seeing association with blood and sacrifice. And you have Wizard of Oz, magic ruby slippers that would change from silver to red. And if you remember the mullet, it is silver and red. So you're changing it to red because of Technicolor. And she has to say, there's no place like home 3 times. The fish spawns 3 times. Hecate has 3 heads. And you just put in connections and go, am I seeing this? Again, I always ask myself this. Am I seeing things? Is it paradiola of sorts? So I just show you what I find. Sometimes people can't get their head around that. Why are you doing this? Because if I find a connection and it's showing me going that way, I will show you in the video going that way. And I'll also try and show you another opinion that's out there. I'm not here to debate things and say this is fact. No, I'm just showing you what is out there. And we have to make that journey ourselves. So you've seen that connection with Hecate. Hecate is associated with a torch, which is linked to what I was talking about, that lady's name. I then told you about Hecate is also sacrifices to her are a black dog, but also with her guarding her. Black dog. Toto. And I'm sure they could have picked any other dog colour, but they're making an agenda. They're making you see this. And that's when it starts to change for me, that they are worshipping and using Hecate, who is one of the gods of witchcraft and magic. Magic is associated with red. Also, she was associated with red, black and white. So when you put these connections together, you have to go, I can see that now. Like the song, I can see clearly now. But I'm not going anymore. But that's what I'm like, damn. Then you say there's no place like home in gematria adds to 9. So she says it 3 times. 999. And obviously people will automatically, that's why I put it in, because when people say 999, they automatically think of 666. It's how our brain works. Crazy, huh? And these are why I get excited, even about these dark topics, finding something, changing the narrative. It's like anything, people will then say, is Hecate bad or good? Neither. It's always about the intent, the user, the witch, the wizard, the warlock, whatever you want to call people. The intent is down to that. You can use things for good and bad. It's a duality in it, and they will use it negative. That's why when people complain, oh, you said you did that, or you wore that colour. How about we change it back to a positive? Have it associated with something that's not evil. Because we saw how ancient logos and symbols have been used, and they have been changed from good to bad, and we want to change it back. It's about educating ourselves, telling us it's all about the intent. Intent is really important. So when they're doing things like this, they need a god, especially one who's associated with doorways. The threshold is Hecate, who has these fish sacrificed to her and left on her altar, but they're also named after the shoe. And I'm supposed to sit here and not include it and just keep talking about cannibalism and children's skin and things. You can get that on other channels. That's not me, unfortunately. I want to look at other narratives that I can find, that I can show, hey, What do you think? Could it be this? It's giving you an option. I want us to have more options. You can believe after seeing the video, that's what it all is. But it could be what I'm saying, or it could be both, or it could be nothing. It could be something else. That's when you come into it. Because you see things I don't see. So, when we're talking about the card, that's just what sprang to my mind. You had the black dog link. You had the magic, the crossroads, the yellow brick road, the red. You have the worship of a god who's god of magic. Now she has a dark side, just like any of these gods. And this is my narrative. They're using the dark side, just like the Force, like I've talked about in the videos not long past. So when we're looking into things like this, and especially with the feet and the foot, that's why I just quickly put stuff in about the foot, because the foot is sacred. And a few of my notes have talked about, I'll not put in the video, feet may function as a recognizable embodiment of a form of divinity. You know, some religions talk about the foot being divine. So if they're wearing these red shoes, are they trying to walk in Ekate shoes? Are they worshipping the red mullet symbolism? They sacrificing, especially if they are wearing skin. And these are something we have to look at, unfortunately. But when you start looking at it differently, with new eyes, you can just see this connection, and that's why I had to do it. I just go with the flow in the sense of things pop into my head, and then I then research that. It's how my brain works, you know. I focusing on that, and I just look for what I call gold information that makes you raise your eyebrow. And when you start looking into feet, then footprints are a material trace of a being. They're foundations of our presence, and if they are using children's skin, children are closer to God, the more spiritually aware, because they've not been corrupted. They're pure, as a lot of people say. So if they're more connected to God and have more energy because they're not being corrupted, they're wearing a pure form, pure essence of that person. That is dark to me. But you have to think, what could they be doing it? Then you start looking at things in life, like the celebrities. They make their footprints in Hollywood also, as well as the hands. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, as I was saying, what else is tied to feet? Feet, say feet. There's words, it's not just about our feet, but your achievements, your deeds in life, your essence, your soul, your achievements, what you have done. You have done great feats. Feats. Phonetically the same. Crazy. Your height, your stature. In some parts of the world, especially in the UK, we measure in feet. A legal document is called a deed. A deed is from feet. Etymologically, from feet, F-E-A-T. So a deed is a legal document. And then the word deed, in regard to all this, and feet in Latin, is factum. It means fact. Wow. So you have all these connections with the feet. And if they're using the symbolism of red shoes and the person that is made out of them, you're like, oh my God. They're using the power to walk in their footsteps and to walk with the gods. If they're not using the skin and things, symbolically, they are attaching themselves using blood magic, red, to contact or use Hecate's magic. They're showing you they are using magic by using the red shoes. They're trying to go through and connect to other realms, being in between, contact other gods. Basically just magic and all the power of the feet. Walking on this earth. And remember, walking on this earth, the ley lines. Ley lines can be traced to lie lines. People won't tell you that. So when they're talking about energy ley lines, they're talking about energy lie lines. So if they look into the word, why is it called lie line? Why is it lying? Why are they trying to promote putting your feet and connect it to the earth? Is it good for you? They show the benefits, but could it be bad? Could it be a case of being promoted as good to be bad? And I have to cover both sides because I haven't the foggiest. Because I'm honest. And if evil, the fallen, have been trapped in these lines, they are the remnants of them. You know, do you believe these fallen were good? Do you believe they were bad? Because it's a set with anything. Can we believe anything that's been written by man? Man is easily corruptible. And that is why I try and use things just as information when I see it. Sometimes these spells, as we talk about, can be used in so many different ways. How many words mean other things, good and bad? Love backwards is evil. You look at the word devil. The D is delta, means a doorway. Doorway, D, left with evil. The devil is the doorway. And then you have gods of doorways. Are they good and bad? Is it the intent? Is it what goes through a door? It's crazy when you start thinking, because there's so many permeables. And, you know, that's why my videos sometimes are so different and yet talking about the same thing, because I'm finding alternatives all the time, and I have to post what I see because I get excited about it. It's like when you look at the word feet and foot, your anatomy, heel. Your heel, an old way of spelling it was H in different languages, where I put it Hiel, but that was also a word used in other languages for hell. If evil, Satan, the serpent, is being cast down and is the ley lines, they want you to be possessed and to touch the floor so you can come through your soul. Your soul or your foot. You saw it in that thing for the Podesta. Souls for souls. You know, the party that he didn't make. He just, you know, the red shoe fern. Again, it was for his 65th birthday, which is another 11 people don't know about. It's mind-blowing. So you have all this heel. You think about it, your arch, isn't that known as the planto? You know, the plant. You plant your feet in life. But think about plants. A plant, a green plant, a colourable plant. Think about it. That third kept sticking in my head. If you believe in God and Genesis and different things, what was created on the third day but the land and the sea? And then it was prepared, and then the land was furnished with plants. So, what was walking? Planta, the arch. Remember, in the beginning is arche in Greek. In the beginning was the arch of the foot. You have your soul, you have hell, heel. These languages are spells, and they contain energy and they contain power, because when you speak them using the vocal cord, broke vocal in half. Voc, V-O-C, means voice. A-L is E-L. Vocal voice of God, voice of the divine, the voice of the Elohim. It's a spell. Spelling creates a sigil, creates cymatics, it creates energy that is transferred in this realm. So anything you speak, that is kept and stored wherever that is hit. That's why you feel energy when you walk into a place. Energy is kept in between the atoms. I've always talked about that, and that's why you feel it. You walk in receptors, you walk in wands. You can feel the frequencies, and they abuse them with extra frequencies. And then we're talking about a subject that is dark in regard to red shoes and people associating it with a red shoe club and all the evil things that happen to children. And we can't bury our head saying it doesn't happen because it's proven. We just can't prove. You know, a lot of things have been made out of human flesh since the beginning of time. So there will be shoes made out of skin. But I can't, but you can see the symbolism that is used in the society. So you have to say, yep, that's what a lot of people are looking at when you research this for yourself. But hey, could this connection to Hecate be anything in that? And I've showed you enough to raise an eyebrow. And you go, yes, I can see that connection. It can. And that's what blows my mind. It's all the package together. So guys, thank you for listening to a topic that some may seem dark. Yes, a part of it is, but the other information hopefully will be a light, a torch, no pun intended, to expose different things and show you that we don't have to accept what the community says. Right, that's this, and it has only to be that. Well, perspective in life, we are perspective. Our wands and the magic spells are all different. We interpret these things. There are Peter, Pater, Father. They are the fathers, and there is a different interpretation of anything. And we just have to accept, each one of us, that this interpretation has showed me the Hecate link. You guys will see other links I missed, but you're not right. But you're not wrong. I'm not right. I'm not wrong. It's just we've interpreted it this way today. Other days we'll interpret it differently. But if we don't interpret, things will just stay the same. And if things have been associated with one thing, the energy will be constantly being harnessed for that. We have to change it for a more positive. Expose it. Get people aware of these things. So guys, I want to thank you again for tuning in today. If you want to like, share and subscribe, it really means a lot. I want us, the black sheeps, I want the flockers to be proud of us, proud of this channel, proud of you for your help, proud of me for making this content. And I want that to get pushed out there into this realm for good. And I can't do it without you guys. So please, thank you for having me back. Thank you for being there. Stay safe. Remember, always wear a smile. Don't let the bar stools grind us down. And if you want to help the channel, just like, share and subscribe, and buy me a bar, which is buy me coffee if you want. It's all there. It's all appreciated. Much love. Stay safe, and I'll see you. I will see you again. Bye guys.